And we're going to talk to somebody who's quite high up in the echelons of the Democratic Alliance to discuss their decision to pull out of the national dialogue and the broader implications of President Cyril Ramaphosa's dismissal of Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield. We now have on the line Helen Zille, who's the Federal Council chairperson of the Democratic Alliance. The DA has described the president's move as politically selective and an attack on coalition governance. We also get her views on what this means for the future of multi-party cooperation and accountability in government. Helen, thanks so much indeed for joining us. Always good to talk to you. Thanks so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. Good to be with you.
So we watched the presser and let's start with Andrew Whitfield. Did he err by going on this trip without getting express permission, even if the president hadn't given him a response?
Well, we can only work on the handbook. And the handbook says ministers and deputy ministers should, not must, should apply to the president if they are going on official business abroad. Now, Whitfield was not going on official business abroad. This was a private trip paid for by the DA because we have a lot of contacts built up in Washington. And we wanted to try and dissuade them from withdrawing South Africa from AGOA. So the DA supports AGOA. The DA supports trade. The DA doesn't want big barriers to trade like 30% tariffs and things like that. So we were going to put the DA policy and to say the DA feels very strongly about this. If you do these things, you will not only be punishing the ANC, you'll be punishing all the people of South Africa, creating a lot of unemployment. But it was a DA trip. It was not an official government trip. And Andrew never once purported to be speaking on behalf of the South African government. So even though he didn't have to, and even though it wasn't an official trip, and even though the handbook says may and not must, should and not must, he did nevertheless write to the president. And he wrote 10 days before he left. And his office followed up every day telephonically for a reply. And there was just silence. And to this day, he has not got a reply. So to be fired for the president's failure to reply to a letter is a bit much.
It's a private business, a private trip. However, it is a national issue, and the people on the other side are not going to take off his deputy minister hat and say this is a DA person. They're going to see him as a senior government official and will hear him as a senior government official, surely.
The point is, it was a DA delegation. We'd set it up through the DA lobbyist in Washington. Everybody knew it was a DA delegation, not a South African government delegation. And if that was to be the case, then the president must answer his letters.
Right. So you've described Andrew Whitfield's dismissal as politically motivated. Why do you say that?
Well, the whole thing is to give us a stick in the eye. That's what they want to do. They want to keep on humiliating us and to show who's boss. And we act in good faith. They never, ever stick by any of the agreements they undertake. I mean, that statement of intent, which we negotiated so intensely before the first sitting of Parliament of this administration on the 14th of June last year, going through all of that process and getting the signatures on the bottom of it was just a farce. Because, in fact, they've just ignored that statement of intent from the very beginning.
Does this signal a breakdown of trust between the Democratic Alliance and the government, the ANC in particular, especially in the context of the GNU?
Well, I don't trust the ANC. I can't speak for John, but I don't trust them. Because when they say they're going to do something, and even when they put their signature on a document that says they're going to do something, they simply ignore it as if it doesn't exist.
Are you not using this, as some may be accusing you of trying to distance itself from the GNU?
No, we're trying to say apply the rules of the GNU properly. Don't invent rules. Don't fire people for what aren't infringements, but that you develop and embellish as infringements when you ignore real and serious infringements in your own ministers. That's what we say.
So, why have you pulled out of the national dialogue?
Because it's an important thing for Cyril Ramaphosa. He's very keen to recreate the 1995 Kliptown feeling where the Freedom Charter was produced and this feel-good moment. And we're saying, we're not bit actors in your play for feel-good moments. The feel-good moments must come because we reached an agreement, because we are applying that agreement, because we're getting rid of corruption in government, and because we're working together to do so. Not because you act exactly the way you like, fire people for no reason, and leave the corrupt people in government.
Apart from responding to Mr. Whitfield, what sanction do you think would have been appropriate?
He could have called Whitfield in and said, I should have answered your letter. I'm very sorry. I didn't answer your letter because maybe my office is in such a chaotic state, which is probably the reason. The ANC is so chaotic, they never answer any letters or do anything or arrive at any meeting on time, if they arrive at all. So he should have said, I'm sorry, but I think you should have given me more time, even though your office tried to phone me every single day. It was a mistake that I didn't return your call, but even if I don't return either calls or letters, please know that even though the handbook says you don't have to, I would like you to. It was such a minor transgression. That's all he needed to have done.
Do you think the GNU can hold? We seem to be getting more and more of these kinds of incidents and pressures between particularly you and the DA and the...
It's been like this from the beginning. They've been in bad faith since the beginning. They've been manipulative. They've been undermining since the beginning.
So the GNU, can it hold?
We'll see. I mean, you've got to understand that if the GNU does not hold, the South African rand will fall through the floor. Investment will be lost. Jobs will be lost at a very, very high rate. People will get even poorer and less employed. Food costs will be higher. The rand will be worth less. People's pensions will be worth less. The results will be catastrophic. The DA stands between South Africa and catastrophe. And we believe that the ANC should treat us as if it understands that fact.
You've threatened that a vote of no confidence against President Ramaphosa may happen. We're hearing other voices saying that you wouldn't dare because you're so used to power now, blue lights and jobs, and that one of your campaign promises was actually to call on the president if he let us down. Is this a serious threat that you might call a vote of no confidence against the president?
Yes, of course it is. But you see, the issue's got to be right. I mean, firing a deputy minister is a wrong thing to do, and there must be consequences, especially if the deputy minister did nothing wrong, and Ramaphosa's own colleagues did plenty blatantly wrong things. And so we must respond to that, but is it worth the kind of consequences that I sketched out a moment ago? That's what we've got to get right. We've got to get the balance right between cause and effect. The response has got to be commensurate to what is done.
Helen Zille, we're going to have to leave it there for the time being, but thank you very, very much indeed for your time this morning.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
That's the Federal Council chairperson of the Democratic Alliance Party in South Africa, Helen Zille, explaining what's behind their position regarding this standoff or tense moment between the Democratic Alliance and the ANC, in particular with the president of the ANC and also head of state, Cyril Ramaphosa, firing one of his deputy ministers who happens to be a party member of the Democratic Alliance. It's 7:30. It's time for your news head.